fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The Ethelred doesn't just float in the void, it writhes, a wounded beast gasping for breath. Every thrum of the dying main reactor is a deep, labored gasp against my ribs, a vibration that rattles the marrow in my forearms. The air tastes metallic, thick with blood and the acrid bite of burnt circuitry, while a faint ozone sting lingers like a reminder that the ship is still alive, barely. My uniform, once crisp navy, clings to my skin like a second, sweat-soaked flesh, the 3 crimson patches on my sleeve the only colors left of my former rank. I can smell the sweat and smoke, the stench of burnt wiring and ozone, a noxious mix that clings to my skin and clothes. The silence is oppressive, punctuated only by the creaks and groans of the ship's hull, a symphony of stress and strain that threatens to shatter at any moment. I slump into the command chair, the worn leather sighing under my weight, a reluctant embrace that presses against my thighs. My knuckles whiten on the armrests, not from tension but from the bone-deep exhaustion that threatens to pull me under. The bridge is a cathedral of shattered glass and flickering emergency lights, casting long, dancing shadows that make the groaning bulkheads feel alive. The lights flicker and dim, casting eerie shadows on the walls, making it seem as though the ship itself is breathing, struggling to stay alive. Cale is beside me, his hand still gripping my wrist. His heat radiates through the thin fabric, a steady pulse that makes my pulse race. I can feel the tremor in his fingers, the unspoken promise that he will not let this darkness claim us. His eyes, a deep, burning blue, seem to bore into my soul, searching for any sign of weakness, any hint of doubt. Rook stands opposite, his gaze as cold as the void outside, eyes dark pools that seem to see straight through the wreckage. Yet beneath that ice I sense a fierce protectiveness, a silent vow that he will shield us even if it costs him his life. His jaw is set, his teeth clenched, his entire body tense and ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. Jax leans close, his breath hot against my ear, his words a low murmur that brushes my skin like silk. His hand rests lightly on the small of my back, a promise and a threat intertwined, sending a shiver that is both fear and desire. My own breath catches, a mixture of dread and a yearning I have tried to bury beneath duty. The 3 of them, Cale's fierce fire, Rook's icy resolve, Jax's smoldering heat, are the only anchors in this black sea. I think back to the events that led us here, the battles we've fought, the sacrifices we've made. I remember the sound of laughter, the feel of warm sunlight on my skin, the taste of fresh air and clean water. Those memories seem distant now, lost in the void, replaced by the harsh realities of our situation. The main view screen is a shattered mosaic, but the secondary display pulses with cold, clinical urgency. Fuel, 12%. Structural integrity, 47%. Hull breaches, 3. Sealing in progress. Warp drive, 72% functional. The numbers glow with a cruel finality. We survived the Vorgath swarm, barely. Their razor-sharp frigates swarmed like locusts, stripping our shields, puncturing the hull, and taking out the left stabilizer array with a lucky plasma bolt. Now the Persephone Nebula stretches before us, a graveyard of dead stars and the cold certainty of death if we linger. I think about the Valkyrie, my sister ship, and the men who have become my world. I think about the promises I've made, the oaths I've sworn, and the debts I've incurred. My fingers trace the cracked comm panel, the smooth plastic a stark contrast to the jagged reality. The choice is laid bare: warp to Haven Station, 12 parsecs away, warm beds, hot meals, a chance to heal. Or stay, risk the abyss, and protect the Valkyrie, my sister ship, and the men who have become my world. My heart aches with a longing that is both romantic and primal. I can feel Cale's pulse quicken as he watches me, Rook's jaw tighten and Jax's hand tighten around my waist. In this moment the void presses, whispering that we are already unmade, yet the heat between us refuses to be snuffed out. The decision will define not just our survival, but the tangled fates of 3 men and a woman who refuses to surrender to the darkness. I look at Cale, his eyes burning with a fierce determination. I look at Rook, his face set in a mask of calm resolve. I look at Jax, his eyes smoldering with a heat that threatens to consume us all. And I know in this moment that I will not abandon them, that I will not leave them to the void. I will fight, I will struggle, I will do whatever it takes to keep them safe, to keep them alive. The ship creaks and groans around us, the lights flickering and dimming, but I know that we will make it through, that we will survive as long as we have each other. We'll make it, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. We'll get through this. Cale's hand tightens around my wrist, Rook's jaw relaxes, and Jax's hand loosens its grip on my waist. Together, Cale says, his voice low and rough. Always, Rook adds, his voice cold and detached. Jax just smiles, his eyes glinting with a heat that makes my heart skip a beat. And in that moment I know that we will be okay, that we will survive, that we will make it through the void as long as we have each other. The ship may be dying, but our love, our bond, our determination will keep us alive, will keep us going, no matter what the void throws our way.